Hey everybody, what's going on? It's your friend James Shaw. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us today. We're doing what we do, which is talk to elite people who are doing elite things because, well, we want to help you become elite. And I'm excited because today John's with us, who's a team leader down in Marco. And yet we're talking about something that a market center could do, but an agent can do, and it's paid off for you. So I'm excited about that. And that is the barbecue that you hold each month. We're going to dive into it in a minute. But first, would you introduce yourself to everyone? Tell them who you are, where you are, and a little bit about you.
Wonderful. James, thank you very much for inviting me on. I'm excited about this. My name is Jon McLeod. I am the team leader for Keller Williams on Marco Island. About 20 years total experience spanning a 35-year period in real estate. And I joined Keller Williams in 2017, early 2018, specifically because of the culture. And I'm a big fan of companies who give back to their people, give back to communities. And that is the number one reason why I joined Keller Williams about 6 years ago now. So,
Well, and your market
awesome.
center is giving back, which is no doubt about that. And so I'm excited to walk through it with you. You took over down in Marco Island a while back and wanted to help bring some energy into that market center and move it forward. And so from what I understand, you did this by sitting down with your ALC. This is kind of where it started. And,
Yep.
and I know as agents are watching and we unpack this from a team leader perspective, recognize you can do the same thing too. So pay attention to what John tells you. But John, you sat down and asked your ALC a question.
Yeah, I said, what do you want to be known for? And this was in the interview process before I accepted the role. And I really wanted to know what the agents felt their office, because it is their agent's office, what they wanted to be known for. And you mentioned, how do you do this as a single agent or a team? It's the same thing. You ask yourself the question, what do you want to be known for? And through that, I learned that our office about 10 years ago was very involved with first responders on Marco Island, going to their fundraising barbecues and chili cook-offs and that sort of thing. So came up with this crazy idea, says, let's go buy a cheap grill and cook hot dogs and invite a couple of the police and see if anyone shows up. And office loved it. They said, this is awesome. Let's do it. Let's see what happens. So we went out and got the grill. We sent a text message to the chief of police and the fire chief on a Thursday night, the night before, and said, hey, we're going to be serving hot dogs and hamburgers for first responders if anyone wants to come by. And to say we were grossly unprepared is an understatement. I want to say our first time out, we had 45 people show up. Police cars, they came in the fire engines. It was kind of cool, brings out the kid in you when a couple big red fire trucks show up in your parking lot with sirens blazing just to get a hot dog or a hamburger.
It's amazing. It's something small. First of all, everybody in Marco thought, what's going on over there at Keller Williams? And all the police and the fire department are there.
There was a lot of looky-loos for sure.
I'm sure, no doubt about it. And yet, were you surprised by that initial response that 45 to 50 firefighters and police officers showed up in their cars and gear and uniforms to just come have a hot dog?
It was crazy. And, we're sitting around outside. We got a little patio area out there in the parking lot. So they're sitting outside or in the conference room, just enjoying the downtime. And it was really interesting because what we learned from that first day is these guys and gals don't get to interact with each other on a daily basis. This kind of gave them a little outlet that they can just decompress for an hour or two, enjoy each other's company. Many of them work different shifts from each other and they don't get to see them on a day-to-day basis. And it was such a cool experience seeing how they mingled with each other.
That sounds really cool. All right. So you guys sat down afterwards and decided you got to do this all the time, because this was like, we're just going to kind of do this, but now it's a regular thing.
Yeah. We talked about it afterwards and kind of learned from our challenges and obstacles that we dealt with and said, all right, do we want to do this again? Resounding yes. So we made the decision that the first Friday of every month was going to be First Responder Friday. So our first one was in June. So our first Responder Friday, the official one, was July of last year.
And so you've been doing this over a year now.
Yeah, we've been doing it over a year.
Hmm.
And we'll get into and we did not do this honestly, we did not do this with any intention of what it would do for the office or the agents financially. That had nothing to do with it. It was just, we wanted, for those who don't know Marco Island, a light breeze brings water up onto the past the beach.
Hmm.
So we're susceptible to hurricanes down here. I know you knew that living up in Tampa. You
Yep.
get our remnants. That's just kind of how it goes.
Yep.
And Irma was a massive issue on Marco Island, and then
Yeah.
Ian a couple years ago, same
Yep.
thing.
Yep.
And these are the men and women that keep the island safe. And so we said, all right, we really want to just thank them, and this is our way of doing it. So went out and got a little bit bigger grill. This time I got, a 2-burner flat top on one side and a 2-burner gas grill on the other. We said, all right, hot dogs and hamburgers for July 4th. That'll be our first responder Friday, official one. And then we were up to 65 people.
Wow.
That came in. And then the agent said, well, how can I help? What do I need to do?
Right.
And so like, okay, so they're making side dishes, they're cooking stuff on their own, bringing it in, and vendors started catching on, saying, well, we want to be a part of this. So it instantly became revenue neutral. I mean, we feed, now we're feeding 100 people.
Wow.
For about $300.
That's amazing. What I love that you said is that it wasn't really about growing the market center. The market center has grown because of it, but it wasn't about that. It wasn't about helping agents get more listings and sell more deals, although that has happened as a result of this. It was really about, let me go pour into the community and then see what happens. That's, by the way, what's happened inside of Pivot too, right? Pivot, this whole Facebook community was built out of, let's pour into each other and see what happens. And it's worked. Is that a secret maybe some people miss, is that if you put the people first, everything else will work itself out?
We hear Gary talk about being intentional all the time, right? And we decided to become intentional about serving with no other expectations. I think that, and I'm not 100% on this, James, so I got to be very cautious about saying this. You can grow your business for sure if you're intentional in other areas. This is what we wanted to do because it fits our culture as an office and our culture as agents down here. It just organically happened. I mean, our office is up in the past, since I've taken over, we are up about 45% in net agent count. We've probably done $200,000 or $300,000 in GCI just spin off of this event. And it's taken notice in the community. I mean, we're getting recognition at city council meetings. The mayor is speaking about us. There are veterans from New York, fire department and police, retired veterans down here that come by and enjoy it. And these are people that served in 9/11, back in 2001. They come down and participate, and they don't just enjoy lunch. They're actually hands-on helping us serve the community. So it's really taken off in ways that we never could have expected. So now I'm on my 4th grill, and we have an entire team that cooks the day of, and it's just so much fun.
Who would have thought that running a once-a-month restaurant would turn into massive growth for your agents and your market center? And to be fully transparent, Marco is a market center that's had good times and struggling times. There's no doubt about that. You've had times where things have been great, but then there've been times that things have been a big, big struggle. And you've come in as the team leader, and you sat with the ALC and you asked the one question, what do you want to be known for? That one question changed everything in the market center. I have the numbers in front of me. You are net 34 agents as of the end of July in the last year. In this market, now most of your agents watching, and so maybe that doesn't mean a lot to you, but for agents, my guess would be maybe your listings taken are down or your closed units are down. And if they're up, you're like, wow, that's really cool because the market's down. Well, same for agent count. Agent count's down. People are getting out of the business. For a market center to be up, 38%, netting 34 agents in a year is massively successful, Jon. Do you attribute a lot of that growth to something like this?
Yeah, and I want to say, James, it's an indirect effect. It's not because of this event. This event has brought a sense of unity and community inside the office. And that culture is what is feeding our growth.
That's great. Okay, so let's say an agent wants to go and run a similar play. That they go, all right, I want to get back to the community. I want to pour in. What advice would you give just the agent out there watching about how they could do something similar?
Start with something you love. Okay. It has to be something you love. Now, for me, I love barbecuing. I have a separate Facebook page dedicated to bourbon, barbecue, and beer. And, so it's kind of a fun hobby and passion of mine. So start with, what do you love to do? And then, who do you want to serve? Who is that group? It could be a community group. You could get involved with something like Rotary or Kiwanis or something like that. Get involved with a group that meets your passion, whatever it is. Maybe you've got a heart for inner city kids. And, if you live and these are just ideas I'm coming up with off the cuff here, but maybe you got an idea, you got a heart for inner city kids. Find a way to do something for them. Bring an ice cream truck by once a month for them or something like that. And it will build. You'd be shocked at how this is received, not just by the community, but how you feel and how this changes your outlook on things, just by doing something simple and giving back a little bit.
And you can, like you guys have done, you're partnering with people, right?
Yep.
This is you have agents participating and now vendors that support you. So it's something you can pull a group of people together and go do something. What are some lessons that you've learned in the last year or so as you put these on? Some things that surprised you, or some takeaways, or just some lessons that you've learned to help make these events even better?
Love that question. And I'm not sure I have an answer off the top of my head. Let me see what I can come up with. Be patient. Okay. Every single event is a learning experience for us, whether it's learning what food people like and what they don't like, or how much we need to order, because it varies. I mean, we've had months where we didn't have a great turnout because people were getting in car accidents because it was raining. It does that here in South Florida. So, there's variables, and I've got a crew of 15 agents or so that support this, and getting all of them to work on the same page with 15 different personalities can be an interesting challenge. So whatever you do, remember that the people that are supporting you in your vision. And you need to be completely 100% patient with them and encourage them and help coach them to be able to get to the end.
Jon, it's great. I love what you're doing. Thank you for sharing it with us in here. Congratulations on everything going on in Marco, and thanks for giving back to the community.
James, I appreciate the time, and thank you for everything you're doing for the agents. It is great company. Appreciate you.
Got it. My pleasure. See ya.